ra nước, hột vịt lộn, hột vịt sữa, trứng cút lộn, mất xào đấy.
Whether you're an expat here in Vietnam or you're living in your home country, you're probably always thinking about the future. And when it comes to long-term savings, where do you even begin? So that's where our partner Tenzing Pacific can really help you. One of the benefits of living in Vietnam is the cost of living is more affordable, so it often means that you have an increased amount of disposable income. And if you've got disposable income, how do you make the most of that extra cash to help you build a solid financial future? With Tenzing Pacific, you can start investing for as little as $250 a month. And they work with international providers, giving you access to world-class investment managers and global brands that you know. And one of the best things about investing is it's all about getting rich in the future. And by investing just $500 a month for 5 years, with a standard 8% annual return, you could end up with over $250,000 after 30 years, which is not bad for actually only investing $30,000. Now, I know 30 years sounds like a long time, but I've been in Vietnam for 8 and I feel like I got here yesterday. It's not that long. And that is the power of consistent investing. So are you ready to secure your future with the world's leading investment opportunities? Then talk to a Tenzing advisor today and find out how easy it is to start saving. Click the link in the description to get started and access special offers for a Vietnam podcast. And our partner, Seven Bridges Brewing Company, has just been crowned Champion Brewery of Vietnam at the 2024 Asia Beer Championship. And not only that, 4 of their beers have won 2 gold medals at international competitions. Well done to all those guys and their team. That is absolutely incredible. But as you may know about Seven Bridges, it's not just about the beer. They are committed to sustainability, which I absolutely love. And their brewing is with a focus on making a positive impact. So they reuse a lot of their ingredients in things like their pizza dough and their amazing spicy dragon sauce. So it means that you can enjoy a great beer and support a company that cares about the environment. So if you're hungry and you're a little bit thirsty, then they've got you covered with some of the best pizza that goes with their spicy dragon sauce and my favorite drink, the Hai Van Haze. So cheers to good beer, good food, and doing good. Get yourself down to Seven Bridges Brewing Company, wherever you can find them in Vietnam. And most importantly, when you do go, make sure you invite me if you're in Saigon, and I'll see you there for a beer.
Hột ra nước, hột vịt lộn, hột vịt sữa, trứng cút lộn, mất xào đấy.
All right, we're doing another episode of the Saigon Sunday sessions of a Vietnam podcast. And I'm here with 4 Americans. We got Adri, we got Erica, we got Dave, and we got Tyler Maurice Coy.
Maurice Coy, dude.
Maurice
You
Coy.
know my last name.
And we're here in his new bar. Here in his new bar.
I don't know where
Alibi.
my cucumber is.
We're enjoying a Negroni. And Tyler is one of the best cocktail makers, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly
Yeah,
in the city.
allegedly.
I don't know if it's true or not, but it's allegedly one of the best cocktail makers in the city. And Tyler was just explaining the mechanics of a free flow.
Yeah, it gets complicated. I don't know. It gets a little complicated. I just don't know what the people want. If I could just get like a big data sheet filled with what is it that people want in terms of free flow alcohol, I think I'd have an easier time deciding what I should do for the menu, because I want to do free flow, but then I have people like you telling me, I'm not going to buy a free flow. I'm just going to buy some cocktails. And then I'm like, cool, that's actually better for me if you do that. But does everybody else want free flow? Or do they just want 50% off of a bottle of champagne? What about free flow Bloody Marys? Is that too much because you can only drink a couple? Yeah, it's a dilemma, dude.
No, I can't imagine how difficult it is to give away alcohol. It must be hard.
Oh, it's super easy. It's actually, I didn't realize how much alcohol I gave away until I stopped drinking. And then I saw the extra bottles of whiskey that we had at Lost and Found all the time. And I was like, oh, that's because I'm not giving shots to everybody that comes in. Yeah, I'm drunk, I'm happy, I'm hugging people, and I'm pouring shots into people's mouths. It's just part of the bar world that I'm used to, but...
You haven't been drinking for nearly a year.
11 months.
11 months.
Yeah.
Is it weird peddling alcohol but not consuming it?
1,000%. Yeah. It's so strange. Just because I've been in F&B for a long time, but the last 13, 14 years, bars specifically, I've always come in, worked, and while I'm working, done a shot with the kitchen or with the other bar staff or wait staff, just out of solidarity as like a family meal. We call it a family meal. It's like shot with each other. So it's really strange to not have that, but the amount of people that also want to buy me a drink, I feel bad turning them down. They're like, hey, let me buy you a whiskey. Last night it happened. This new dude who just moved here from New Orleans, he's awesome. And he was like, hey, let me buy you a Woodford and soda. I was like, oh, I love Woodford. I was like, how about you pick me up on that when I start to drink again? Because I just wanted to do this year to prove to myself you can be in the industry and take a break. You don't have to. It's this weird thing with this stigma with being in the industry and almost like having to drink. And it's so unusual for a bar owner or a bartender to not drink that I was just like, I think that's possible.
It's like a weed dealer that doesn't smoke weed.
Oh yeah, when I was dealing weed, I smoked so much weed. I smoked every day. I mean, I was legally dealing weed. I was a bud tender. I worked at a place called Apothecary. It was medicinal marijuana. And then eventually, when it became legal in Seattle, I-502, I had a company with somebody for producer, processor, recreational marijuana. So I was legally peddling it, yeah. But I smoked all the time, so. And also selling alcohol, yeah. Obviously drinking is part of it. I still do the bartender's bump and try cocktails before I put them out, obviously. I'm not gonna make something blindly for somebody. And, you know, at my age now, I forget a lot of shit. So I don't want to send something out and it's missing a key ingredient.
I'm just going to put the microphone between me, AJ, and Arika. Tyler just said my age, and me, AJ, and Arika just looked at each other disdainfully. Your age. Your age is what? You're
You
a
just
child.
turned 30.
34. And me, AJ, and Arika all looked at each other like.
I'm 34 too.
You brought this up, so.
You're 34 too?
Yeah,
342? 342.
I'm 34 too.
So Tyler, the question I have to ask is,
I tried one of these for
we're
the first time
continuing
in
on
Mexico
from
City, and
a conversation I had with Adrian
That's
last week.
also mine.
Is what is it like to be an American living in Vietnam?
Getting older, my memory isn't as good as it once was, but
Stop getting on to getting older. You're 34. It's nothing.
in this industry, we age double the time as everybody else. So technically, I'm like 60 right now. But 8 years ago, when I first moved here, oh man, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. I had watched and followed some bloggers, food blogs, things like that, or vloggers as well. And I had an understanding of what it would be like in terms of like crazy traffic and, you know, very like metropolitan style like living. But I did feel a little bit weird, obviously, being American and coming here because obviously of history. So it was, yeah. So it was up in the air for me. I didn't know how I would be treated. I didn't really see that in any of the videos or anything. So I didn't know if I said I was from America, like what the reaction would be. Actually, the whole time I was in Australia, which was the first country I traveled to when I was like 19, 20, I told everybody I was from Canada just because I didn't want them to know I was American. Yeah. Because I didn't want them to know, because I didn't want shit. Yeah. Because all my Australian friends were like, don't tell people you're American. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be suspicious. And then I got in trouble. I got in trouble with my bartender. Obviously, I had a bar that I was a regular at because I couldn't drink in the US because I wasn't 21 yet. But there, they didn't give a fuck. I went to this bar called the White Rabbit every night, and I told them I was from Canada, and they loved me because I tipped, and I was in Sydney. I was in Woolloomooloo. I love saying that. Woolloomooloo. And yeah, I tipped really well. So that's something that I guess Australians don't do. And so the bartenders fucking loved me. And I was buying them drinks, and we had a great relationship. And they were calling me Captain Canada, which was hilarious because think about Captain America, right? So I was like, they're calling me Captain Canada. And then my friend walks in one night and she goes, I didn't know something Americans acted like that. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't know either. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, you're fucking American. I was like, no, I'm Canadian. I'm from Vancouver. And she's like, you're from Seattle. I was like, damn it. And then the bartender was like, think his name was John. He was like, "Are you American?" And I was like, "Yeah." I might cover his blood. I was like, "Yeah, this is awkward." And he was like, "Dude, why would you tell us you're from Canada?" I was like, "It's close enough. And plus, I thought you guys just didn't like Americans." He was like, "We don't like Americans, but you're cool." Then they were like, "All right, we'll just change it from Captain Canada to Captain America." And it was fine. It was fine. But yeah, it was fine. Yeah. I still went back there. But here, I didn't know if I would have to do that same thing and be like, "I'm from Canada." But people would just assume or guess, "Oh, you're American." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And they'd be so happy about it. Like huge smiles and like high fives or whatever. And they're like, "Yeah, Vietnamese people." They'd be like, "Oh, me?" Say number one, like American number one. So I always thought that was so strange.
So I still can't believe you went to Australia and Britain.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think, is there any other country?
And I was
in the world
young,
that
I
would
was
pretend to be
young.
another
I
country?
was like 19, so it was like, yeah, 2 hours away from Seattle.
You are close to Canada.
Yeah, it's close enough. People actually say that Seattle should be Canada.
You basically gave up on your country.
People in the UK are like,
Yeah, only 30 minutes from fucking France or Germany.
I mean, it's easier because I don't have to put on
but
a
in 2
different
hours,
tone or
like-
language or anything. Australians don't know the difference. They're not sitting there analyzing. People already think that because I don't sound the way I talk isn't like any other place in America really. Like it's not very West Coast. It's Northwest is its own thing. But in Vancouver, they don't even say it like
What
that.
do they say?
They just say it normal. Sorry, they sound like they don't have that thick. They're more like. I don't want to say they're more like
Canadian today. She was from Ontario, and she literally was like, "Sorry." Yeah, like she said.
I love that too. Yeah.
So Canadian.
Have you guys seen the show?
Kim's Convenience?
No, Letterkenny.
No.
Oh my God, they have the super thick accent. But Kim's Convenience is also
That's Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah. But their accent isn't kimchi. He always goes sorry. Yeah, he has that really thick one. I guess.
But so when you came to Vietnam, pretending to be a Canadian.
I didn't pretend when I was here.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
what
Australia.
did you think before you came here? And what was the reaction?
Yeah, I just thought like maybe there's a little bit of like unpacking to do there, like telling people that I'm from America and then talking about something. But then it was literally within like days that I realized that they are like weirdly fascinated with US Army and trucks and all of that stuff. And I was like, this is very strange. So my preconception, like what I thought it was going to be was nothing like that. And it was actually the opposite, where it was like very accepting and we loved the US and all of that. So it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. The city itself, in terms of obviously food and culture and stuff, was pretty much what I thought it would be just from all the videos I had watched. But that tough to talk about topic of what had happened with America and Vietnam in the past, that was just something where I was like, I don't know how this is going to play out, you know?
Do you ever feel awkward about it?
Awkward?
Like awkward,
I mean,
like my country.
Only when I go to the War Museum. Like only when I see how messed up it is. We weren't really, obviously in school, we weren't taught that. We were never taught what you see here and what you know about. So of course, if you represent your country or you feel very strongly about your country or something, obviously I feel shitty about what happened, but not me personally, because I didn't
You don't feel
do any of
personally
that.
responsible?
It's your fault.
It's my fault.
You should feel
Yeah.
personally responsible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't feel
So
personally.
the other question we talked about is why do you think that Vietnamese people are so forgiving or so accepting, accommodating of Americans like yourself?
I think it just shows how awesome of a people they are. Like to just move on and to grow, and in a way I just feel like it's them being the way better person. To not dread on the past and stuff. Obviously you go to some parts and that were heavily affected, they might feel a certain way, and that would be understandable if everybody felt that way, I think. I guess maybe that's me being American, but that's why I say they're the better person for not caring. And if anything, loving America and wanting to go there, which in my head is, wow, that's crazy that you want to go there. But I think it's the same misconception that people have coming to Vietnam, and in the opposite way, where people think, oh, it might be like a developing country, there might not be all these amenities, all these things might not happen, but then they get here and they're like, oh, it's super convenient, it's super amazing. And then I think Vietnamese think those things about America, but they get there and they're like, wow, this is extremely difficult. It's not that easy. It's a lot of work to keep up with the debt to income and all of those things.
Tyler, based on the fact that I like a Negroni, what would you recommend for another cocktail?
Mezcal Negroni.
I know, I tried that one. That was good.
I don't think that I know what it is exactly that you like about a Negroni. What do you like about it?
I don't like sweet. I like bitter. I don't like sour.
I feel like the Negroni is sweet.
You think so?
I think so too.
Gin, yeah, 100%. That's why I like this.
But do you think a Negroni is bitter, or do you think it's a
More
balance
bitter.
of sweet and bitter?
Maybe a balance.
But would you like more bitter?
Not more bitter, just the same.
Just the same, but
Yeah.
some...
Every time we go somewhere,
Do you ever drink Manhattans?
what is in a Manhattan again?
Rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, bitters, a
No,
little bit
I
of
don't
cherries.
It's a great drink.
Because remember the last time we came here, I had a old fashioned after the
Oh.
Negroni, and I was like, the old fashioned.
Have you had a Boulevardier?
What's in the Boulevardier?
Oh, yeah.
That's basically a whiskey Negroni.
Yeah, give me.
I think you would like that. Yeah.
That's a good choice.
I've had
Yeah.
that a long time
It's
ago.
a great choice. If you like a Negroni, Boulevardier is a great
The
choice.
Boulevardier.
I don't know. I feel like I live pretty local. There's not a lot of the being American aspects of my life that really come through in how I live here. I live in a very local, I think I'm the only foreigner that lives in my apartment complex. My 3-year-old son rides on my motorbike with me.
Did you do that in the US?
Fuck no. Absolutely not. No.
That's a big difference, all right.
Okay, yeah. So like the things that I do that are different are huge, but like I just feel like being an American here doesn't affect me. But the things that I do that I wouldn't do in the US, the list can go on.
I guess that's the question, right?
Yeah,
So
okay,
what's
yeah,
the
yeah.
difference being
Okay.
in Saigon?
I see, okay.
That's a better question.
Yeah, so the difference,
It doesn't matter whether you're American or from the West, New Zealand, Australia, Scotland. There's
Yeah.
some things you see, like riding a child on a bike, and you are like, if we did that in our home countries,
absolutely.
services
Yeah,
would be called
absolutely.
like, immediately. Somebody would
Yeah.
see a child on a bike without a helmet.
I guess a better way to answer that, because that list would just be so long, we'd be here until 4 a.m. So I think the better answer would be for me to tell you the things that I'm still not used to yet being here versus America. So the things I'm not used to are seeing people just pee on the side of the street,
This
just
come up.
freaking wiener out. It's just, I don't want to see it and I don't like to see it, and they're just peeing, not even facing away from the street. So everybody's just seeing it. That's one that I don't think I'll ever be happy about. It's something that's different that I wouldn't see. You might see a drunk person in an alleyway in the US, but knowing that's very illegal. Here, nobody gives a rat's
I think
behind.
it's funny for some of the things that you see here.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Another one for me is not sitting in a height appropriate chair. Sitting around a table, I don't mind the tiny stools. The small stools don't bother me, but then going to a family gathering where everybody's sitting on the floor is a little bit tricky.
But what I was going to say is, I think a lot of the things that we see here in Vietnam, which are day to day, like someone peeing by the side of the street, you get numb to it and you get used to it, or a child on a bike without a helmet.
Yeah.
But then what you have to do is, when you transplant the situation and you go, okay, if we were in our country
Yeah.
and the same thing was happening, it would be outrageous. If we were in our country and a man was taking a pee against the wall of a school, like he would literally be on the sex offenders list.
Yeah, for sure. Same in the US. Yeah, exactly.
Which then makes you realize how different it is here.
You get used to a lot of it. I feel like you do become numb.
Yeah.
Like a little bit to like the things that you see. Like, for instance, I had really not bad road rage, but I was just unused to not. Yeah, like it was weird. Just getting cut off all the time and not getting upset about it because that's the way it is. And other people get cut off and it doesn't even faze them. And then I realized, okay, I'm just gonna get cut off all the time. That's just the way it is. people not putting on their blinker, all of those crazy, chaotic things that is somewhat organized, which I'm sure doing this podcast, you hear people say that organized chaos all the time, right? That's just, everybody knows it so well. But sometimes I do just have those what are you doing moments, because I was taught an organized way of driving, not a chaotic organized way of driving. So, or people that go through the red light, right? This is the one thing I always get so frustrated at. Of course, I have gone through red lights. I have jumped okay, I got to get through it now. It's a green light, but it's turning red, but I'll get through it now because everybody's going. It's a whole army of people to get through it together. But sometimes they don't realize that the traffic is already at the maximum on the other side of the street. So when it turns green, they go and then they're stuck in the middle. And then at the US, it's very much, okay, we can't go. We have to sit here through this green light. It's just known. You just do that. You can't block the intersection. I mean, people will, in the US, somebody might get out and stab you or something.
Yeah.
So here, it's a lot more like, oh.
Like last week, I was in a cab in D1, I was going through traffic, and we were going through a junction, and it was clear that somebody at some point in the past had jumped the light, not made it, and then blocked the junction. So it means it was blocked going that way. So now they need to wait for them to go, and it was just chaos. And you're like, this all happened because one person jumped the light, and now it can't really clear itself up because now everyone's fucked.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
So for the last question, what would you say to an American who is thinking of coming to Vietnam?
I don't know if I would be like, here's the things to look out for, as much as I would say, here's the things you need to do. Obviously, the first things that popped in my head are like, don't be
suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be scared to cross the street. Just put your hand up and always go forward, never backwards, like the normal things that we know already. I would definitely give those precautions and stuff, but I don't know. Am I telling this person to convince them to come? Or are they already coming and I'm just telling them like what to expect?
An American, they're like, I'm thinking of coming to Vietnam. Should I do it?
Yeah,
what should I do? What do I need to know?
Yeah,
Are they gonna hate me because I'm American? I think
I would rather tell them it's better you don't know anything and come here with zero expectations, because I feel like that's going to be the best case scenario for somebody who doesn't know what to expect, and they come here and they just get their mind blown how, like I said before, how convenient and how easy it is to live here. Like in the US, if I wanted a delivery of food right now to this, like where we are right now, if I got on an app like Uber Eats and I ordered food, not only would it take a long time, but that pizza that costs like $20 turns into $70 with taxes and tip and everything included, right? Whereas here, I'm not even comparing prices. I go on an app and I click delivery for whatever food item I want. A driver immediately accepts it. It's maybe $1, $2 for delivery, and it's here within 30, 40 minutes. It's just so fast, and that's one example of 1,000 of like how convenient it is. And it could be any time of day, any time of night. In the US, everything shuts down, but 24 hours, the city never sleeps, So yeah, I think I would just say don't have any expectations and prepare to be wowed. I think that's it.
That's a good one. Prepared to be wowed.
Prepare to have your mind blown.
True. It's true. All right, thank you very much, Tyler.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll do more of these in the future. If you're in Saigon, go check out Alibi Bar or Lost and Found or Brick and Barrel, any one of Tyler's many vast empire of bars in Saigon. This is the Saigon Sunday sessions. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, follow, subscribe, turn on notifications, and best of all, share this with someone else, and go to patreon.com/A Vietnam Podcast and join the community so that you can come to our events. You can get episodes like this before anyone else. And like I said, you can just be generally a really cool person and you will be a bop Saudi. All right, cheers.
Hột gà nướng, hột vịt lộn, hột vịt sữa, trứng cút lộn, mất xào đây.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.